Tonight's movie is the immortal classic Glen or Glenda by Edward G. Wood Jr. Now we're going to go to Goron with his synopsis.
Dress is good. Start with it good. Many classic cars. Many foaming liquids. Science good. Dracula good. 3-star film.
That's right. You tell him, Goron.
Enjoy his 3-star film.
Constant groping of things unknown, drawing from the endless reaches of time, brings to light many startling things. Startling because they seem new. But most are not new to the science of the ages. People, all going somewhere, all with their own thoughts, their own ideas, all with their own personalities. One is wrong because he does right. One is right because he does wrong. Pull the string. Dance to that. Which one is created for? day is begun. A new life is begun. A life is ended.
Let me see that note.
The records will tell the story. I was put in jail recently. Why? Because I, a man, was caught on the street wearing women's clothing. This was my 4th arrest for the same act. In life, I must continue wearing them. Therefore, it would only be a matter of time until my next arrest. This is the only way. Let my body rest in death forever in the things I cannot wear in life.
Inspector Warren is here to see you, Dr. Alton.
Oh, yes. Show him in, Miss Stevens. Inspector?
Doctor?
Sit down.
Thank you. You're a very busy man, Dr. Alton, I know. I appreciate this time you're giving me.
Business or pleasure, Inspector?
In a way, business. From policeman to inspector. 20 years of it. I guess I've seen everything there is for a policeman to see. Yet I wonder if we ever stop learning. Learning about which we see. Trying to learn more about an ounce of prevention. I'm a man who thrives on learning. We only have one life to live. If we throw that one away, what is there left? Doctor, I'm hoping to learn something from you. And with that knowledge, maybe save some human from a fate which I just witnessed a few days ago. A 4-time loser. This type of case comes to me as well as yourself many times during the course of 1 month.
The suicide?
The suicide.
Most of us have our idiosyncrasies.
This fellow's was quite pronounced.
Yes, but I wonder if it rated the death warrant it received.
Well, that's why I'm here today, Doctor. What do we do about it?
I've always heard you to be a hard-hearted policeman, Inspector.
Isn't that what's thought of most policemen? The laws are written. The policeman is hired to see that those laws are enforced. We have a job to do. As in most jobs, there's always somebody who doesn't want that job to be done. In most factories today, the employer has put up suggestion boxes. Even the employer needs advice once in a while. I think in the case that we're referring to, I need advice. Maybe it shouldn't have happened as it did. But it did. Perhaps the next time we can prevent it.
Let's get our story straight. You're referring to the suicide of the transvestite?
If that's the word you men of medical science use for a man who wears woman's clothing, yes.
Yes, in cold, technical language, that's the word. As unfriendly and as vicious as it may sound. However, in actuality, it's not an unfriendly word, nor is it vicious when you know the people to whom it pertains.
Would this operation do these people any good? I understand you were quite prominent in a case that hit the headlines a few weeks ago.
In some cases, yes, others, no.
Well, the papers certainly had a field day with that one.
Strange as it may seem, even though it was a field day, as you so aptly put it, it's not a new story. Sex change has been performed many times. Those whose sex can be changed, they're the easy ones. But what of those who so desperately want to be of the opposite sex, yet can't change their sex? Such as was the case with Patricia, the suicide.
I'd like to understand this, Doctor, as best you can tell me.
You can only fully understand the sex change by taking two entirely different cases. Two men with exactly the same background, from childhood to manhood and on to their own decisions and destinations.
I'd like to hear the story to the fullest.
Only the infinity of the depths of a man's mind can really tell the story.
Okay. So this movie is about
Man's constant probing of things unknown.
the movie tells the story of
Drawing from the endless reaches of time.
okay. So Dracula tells a story about a doctor telling a story to a policeman. The policeman wants to understand the plight of the modern cross-dresser.
Only the infinity of the depths of a man's mind could really tell the story.
A young man, though he is, speaks the words of the All-Wise. No one can really tell the story. Mistakes are made. But there is no mistaking the thoughts in a man's mind. The story is begun.
One might say, there, but for the grace of God, go I. Why is the modern world shocked by this headline? Why? Once, not so very long ago, the people of the world were saying,
Airplanes. Why, it's against the Creator's will. If the Creator wanted us to fly, he'd have given us wings.
but we fly. Maybe some of you may still remember an even sillier remark.
Automobiles? Bad. They scare the hosses. If the Creator had meant for us to roll around the countryside, we'd have been born with wheels.
Silly? Certainly. We were not born with wings. We were not born with wheels. But in the modern world of today, it's an accepted fact that we must have them. So we have corrected that which nature has not given us. Strangely enough, nature has given us all these things. We just had to learn how to put nature's elements together for our use, that's all. Yet, the world is shocked by a sex change.
If the Creator had wanted us to fly, he'd have given us wings.
If the Creator had meant us to roll around the countryside, we'd have been born with wheels.
If the Creator had meant us to be boys, we certainly would have been born boys.
If the Creator had meant us to be born girls, we certainly would have been born girls.
Are we sure? Nature makes mistakes. It's proven every day. This person is a transvestite, a man who is more comfortable wearing girls' clothes. The term transvestite is the name given by medical science to those persons who wear the clothing of the opposite sex. Many a transvestite actually wishes to be the opposite sex. The title of this can only be labeled Behind Locked Doors. Give this man satin undies, a dress, a sweater, and a skirt, or even the lounging outfit he has on, and he's the happiest individual in the world. He can work better, think better, he can play better, and he can be more of a credit to his community and his government because he is happy. These things are his comfort. But why the wig and makeup? He dares to enter the street dressed in the clothes he so much desires to wear, but only if he really appears female. The long hair, the makeup, the clothing, the actual contours of a girl. Most transvestites do not want to change their life, their bodies. Many of them simply want to change the clothing they wear to that is worn by the opposite sex. Glen is engaged to be married to Barbara, a lovely, intelligent girl.
Those fingernails have got to go.
You know, I didn't realize they're as long as they are.
My goodness, they're almost as long as mine. Maybe even prettier. We'll have to paint them sometime just for the fun of it.
We'll trim them.
That's for sure.
You know, honey, you've invited me to dinner so many times in the last couple of months. It's almost like we're married already.
I wish we were, darling. It's been a long year.
For both of us.
But now, my studies are through, college is concluded, and I'm free at last.
Free? For the time being.
Huh? Oh. How about joining me for an after-dinner drink?
The living room?
Mm-hmm.
Modern man is a hard-working human. Throughout the day, his mind and his muscles are busy at building the modern world and its business administration. His clothing is rough, coarse, starched, according to the specifications of his accepted job. At home, what does modern man have to look forward to for his body comfort? The things provided for his home, a wool or flannel robe, his feet encased in the same thick, tight-fitting leather that his shoes are made of. These are the things provided for his home comfort. It doesn't look so comfortable, does it? And get the hat. Better still, get the receding hairline. Men's hats are so tight they cut off the blood flow to the head, thus cutting off the growth of hair. 7 out of 10 men wear a hat, so the advertisements say. 7 out of 10 men are bald. But what about the ladies? Yes, modern woman is a hard-working individual also, but when modern woman's day of work is done, that which is designed for her home comfort is comfort. Hats that give no obstruction to the blood flow. Hats that do not crush the hair. Interesting thought, isn't it? Just for comparison, let's go native, back to the animal instinct. There, in the lesser civilized part of the world, it's the male who adorns himself with the fancy objects, such as paints, frills, and masks. The true instinct, the animal instinct, bird and animal life. Is it not so that it's the male who is the fancy one? Could it be that the male was meant to attract the attention of the female? What's so wrong about that? Where is the animal instinct in modern civilization? Female has the fluff and the finery, as specified by those who design and sell. Little Miss Female, you should feel quite proud of the situation. You, of course, realize that it's predominantly men who design your clothes, your jewelry, your makeup, your hairstyling, your perfume. But life, even though its changes are slow, moves on. There's no law against wearing such apparel on the street, as long as it can be distinguished that man is man and woman is woman. But what is it that would happen were this individual to appear this way on the street? You're doing it now, laughing. Yet, it's not a situation to be laughed at. Thus, the strange case of Glen, who was Glenda, one and the same person, not half man, half woman, but nevertheless, man and woman in the same body, even though by all outward appearances, Glen is fully and completely a man.
Sister, let me borrow her dress.
You want to borrow your sister's dress? What for?
I want to wear it to the Halloween party.
There are names for boys who go around wearing girls' clothes.
Oh, don't be silly, darling. You go ahead and wear your sister's dress, Glen. You always did look much better as a girl than you do as a man.
Glen did wear the dress to the Halloween party. He even took first prize. Then one day it wasn't Halloween any longer.
I wish I had the sight into such things to be able to advise you, Sheila. Maybe if you took the problem to a doctor.
It's Glen that needs the doctor. But when things like this go wrong with someone so close and in your own family, it's so hard to believe.
It's not really hard to believe. It's just hard for you to accept.
Well, of course it's hard for me to accept. Suppose I were to come home with Roy or one of my other boyfriends some night and find Glen like I did last night.
Yeah, that would be hard to explain.
That's the understatement of the year. Just how does one go about introducing your friends to your brother when brother's wearing your best sweater and your skirt and makeup to boot?
Glen is a transvestite, but he is not a homosexual. Transvestism is the term given by medical science to those persons who desperately wish to wear the clothing of the opposite sex, yet whose sex life in all instances remains quite normal. Would you be surprised a rough, tough individual was wearing pink satin undies under his rough exterior clothing? He is. Then there is your friend the milkman who knows how to find comfort at home.
I can't stand it any longer. He wears all my clothes. Nothing is sacred to him, even my briefs. He has every one of my sweaters stretched out of shape. Of course, he has always replaced them, but then they didn't last long either. But, Your Honor, ruffles on his shirts and shorts. Really?
Glen and all the hundreds of thousands of other Glens across the nation face quite a problem. Glen is engaged to be married to Barbara, a lovely, intelligent girl. The problem? Glenda, Glen's other self. The girl that he himself is, his other individual personality.
All right, well, now that I've seen more, the plot of the movie makes more sense. It's about Dracula telling a story about a doctor telling a story to a police officer about Glen, who likes to wear dresses without his fiancée knowing about it. You see, it's not fair because women have comfortable clothes, but men have to wear hats and itchy suits to bed.
Then one day, it wasn't Halloween any longer.
If the Creator had meant us to fly, he'd have given us wings, right?
Enjoy this clip from the Three Stooges.
If it please the court, Your Honor, at this time I would like to introduce my three main witnesses, Howard, Fine, and Howard. They were here a minute ago. Will you pardon me, Your Honor? I'll be right back.
Hey, what's the idea of spoiling the game? I was for onesies. Well, here's twosies.
Oh, he was for onesies? You get him to...
Here's fivesies.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, don't you realize Miss Gail Tempest's life is at stake?
Oh, Gail!
Will you gentlemen please try to be a little more quiet in the court?
Certainly, Judgy, the gate is locked.
Will you please step forward? No. Prepare yourself for the witness box.
Take off your hat. Now raise your right hand. Now place your left hand here. Take off your hat. Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here. Please take off your hat. Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here. Will you please take off your hat? Raise your right hand. Now put your left hand here. Take off your hat. Raise your right hand. Will you get rid of that hat?
Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Huh?
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Are you trying to give me the double talk?
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Why don't you answer him?
He's talking pig Latin. I don't know what he's saying.
He's asking you if you swear...
No, but I know all the words.
He's asking you if you'll swear to tell the truth.
Truth is stranger than fiction, Judgy Wudgy.
Kindly address this court as your honor and take the oath. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Certainly. What have I got to lose?
Take the stand.
Where did I put it?
No. Take the stand.
I got it. Now what'll I do with it? Sit down. You're in a court, not in Clancy's pool room. Sit down. I'm a victim of circumstance. Who are you hitting? Oh, God. Be quiet.
Proceed with the case.
Were you in the Black Bottom Cafe on the night of February the 13th?
Certainly.
Did you at that time see the defendant, Miss Gail Tempest, in any way, shape, or form commit or try to commit bodily harm to the deceased, Kirk Robin?
I object, Your Honor. Counsel's trying to lead the witness.
Objection sustained.
Mr. Howard, did you see Miss Gail Tempest in physical fight with Kirk Robin?
If it pleases the court, may I suggest that counsel be instructed to allow the witness to testify to what he saw.
I say, Jasper, what comes after 75? 76. That's the spirit.
Request granted. Proceed with the testimony.
Mr. Howard, kindly tell the court what you know about the murder of Kirk Robin.
Well, it was like this, Mr. Court.
Address the judge as Your Honor.
Well, it was like this, My Honor.
Your Honor, not my honor.
Why? Don't you like him?
Allow the witness to proceed. The court understands him.
Thanks, Cordy. You're a pal. Well, me and my pals, we're musicians. We were tearing up some hot swing music in the orchestra. Gail over there was swinging the fans. Her sweetie, Kirk Robin, was inhaling a bottle of hooch at a table. And a hoofer by the name of Buck Wing was getting ready to shake his tootsies.
Kindly speak English and drop the vernacular.
Vernacular? That's a derby.
Drop the vernacular. No, not that. Talk so the jury can understand.
Is everybody dumb? Say, Judgy, if you let me, my partner, and Gailey kind of act it out for you, we'll show you just what happened.
If counsel doesn't object, that's an excellent idea.
No objections. No objections.
No objections.
Wow. The Three Stooges cannot stop gambling, even during an important trial. I really respect that.
There are no mistaking the guns in a man's mind.
You know, $10 says that Glen doesn't tell his fiancée and just keeps living a lie.
No, he will do the right thing. If he wants to marry her, he will tell about the dresses.
Okay, so let's get back to Dracula's story about the doctor telling the story to the cop about Glen and Glen's alternate personality, Glenda, and about how, you know, he's still all man even if he likes to wear Angora, and how a lot of tough guys like to wear bras and panties because,
You look tired tonight, Glen.
Yeah, I guess I am. It's been a long day.
Have you seen the paper yet?
No, why?
Isn't that a strange case? I wonder how some people's mind works.
Well, some people aren't happy the way they are.
That's a pretty drastic step to take.
If it's the only way, I'm for it.
I wonder what I would do in a case like that if I were in the mental turmoil that person went through. Or if I suddenly realized that something was mentally wrong with you. Ooh, it's hard to visualize. Here we are, two perfectly normal people, thought to be married and lead a normal life together. And there's this poor fellow who never could have been happy if it wasn't for modern medical science. Our fourth term in psychology explains a lot of the facts, but I'm afraid the end of study is only the beginning of reality.
Glen's problem is a deep one, but he must tell her soon. She's begun to notice things. His nails, his eyes when he looks into a ladies' store window. So many of the little things that are hard to hide. Soon she will realize. Then there was the time Barbara was wearing the sweater Glen had always wanted to feel on his own body. It was becoming an obsession to him. He must have.
What's the matter, Glen, darling?
I guess I was daydreaming.
Something seems to be troubling you. Why don't you tell me?
It's nothing.
Once, long ago, just after we started going steady together, we promised we'd never lie to each other. Are we gonna start now, just because we're engaged to be married?
It's just that... Oh, Barbara, it's nothing that a little sleep won't cure. It's been an awful long day.
It's more than that. Come on, tell me, darling. Who knows? Maybe I can help.
That's just it, you could.
Then something is troubling you.
Yes,
Do I have a right to know?
you have a right to know. But let's just say for the moment that I'm afraid to tell you. I'm afraid I'd lose you.
Nothing could be as bad as all that. I love you and you love me. And nothing in the world can change that.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Glen, is it another woman?
Hold the string! Hold the string! A mistake is made. A story must be told.
Always the same. He's not had the nerve to tell her. But he must soon come to some conclusion or forget the marriage. Should he tell Barbara of his Glenda now, before the wedding, or hit her between the eyes with it after, when it might be too late for either of them? The world is a strange place to live in. All those cars, all going someplace, all carrying humans which are carrying out their lives. The world is shocked by a person who changed his sex. Glenda is shocked also, but by another reason. Someone like her had the nerve to do something factual about their situation. There's so many problems for Glen and all the other Glens. Perhaps the fear of discovery of the underthings they wear beneath their regular outer clothing, or that which they wear during their nightly visit to Morpheus, god of sleep.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure she's going to enjoy it very much. If you want to return it, be sure that you bring the sales slip. Thank you. Can I help you, sir?
Yeah. Let me see a 90.
Oh, well, what size?
12.
The color, the material?
Black. I'm very sure.
Just a minute. Well, we have this here. Would you like that? Something like this? Has lace?
Perhaps he admires the material too long.
You can see how sheer the material really is.
Yes.
You see, it's all pure nylon and only $21.95. And of course, it will never snag.
But Glen and Glenda and all the Glens and Glendas have an even bigger problem.
Hi, Joe.
Hiya, Jack.
Monday again.
You know, I think Monday is about the worst day of the week. A perfectly wonderful weekend, and back to the sweatshops.
Too bad we was born to work. Say, did you read about the guy that hangs to a girl? Says he was perfectly normal, too.
How can a guy be normal and go and do a thing like that to himself?
All the same, it must take a lot of guts to pull a stunt like that.
That's a problem I don't ever intend to face.
Maybe it's a problem we should all face.
I don't get you.
Just think of the unhappy life. The miserable time this world of ours must have given that poor guy.
I still don't get you.
Now, here is a guy who wanted to be a girl. Supposing there had been no way to change.
You sound as if you're really head up on this thing.
I guess I am.
Do you realize what would happen if every man in the country that wanted to wear women's clothes or felt like a woman went to their doctors and wanted to change?
Of course. That's why I say perhaps society should be a little bit more lenient with them. Maybe society should try to understand them as human beings.
Another day done. Thank goodness. See you tomorrow, Jack.
Glen.
Hi, Johnny.
Come on in and hit it right for the kitchen. I can't let that dinner burn. You know, I thought I was going to have to eat alone tonight.
Well, you probably will because I've already eaten.
What's up?
Nothing much.
Say, you really look down in the dumps.
I guess I got a problem.
Haven't we all?
I mean a real problem. One like I've never had to face before.
Our whole existence is one big problem after another.
I want to get married.
You have a problem. When did this all come about?
For nearly a year, I've been engaged to a very wonderful girl. Now the time is getting very close to the man with the book. I'm scared to death.
You love her?
Very much.
Does she love you?
Yes.
There's no problem. Marry the girl.
Are you forgetting about my other self?
You'll have to tell her, of course.
Yeah. I have to tell her. But when? Before? Or after?
I think you know the answer to that one yourself.
My mind's in a muddle. Like in a thick fog. I can't make sense to myself sometimes. I thought I could stop wearing these things. I tried, honestly, I tried. I haven't had a stitch of them on for nearly 2 weeks until tonight. Then I couldn't stand it anymore. I had to put them on or go out of my mind. I'm afraid I'll lose her. I don't want that to happen because I really love her.
Okay. Here's a story from fact.
Johnny tells his story. He had not too long ago been married himself. He had kept quiet about his transvestite desires in the hopes that the new wife would never discover it. However, one day, the little woman came home unexpectedly an hour early.
That marriage ended here. Will your problem be like mine? Most probably it will. Because the love hasn't been built up for such a thing. She, your wife, she will not have been taught enough about the problems to cope with it.
Glenda must now make her decision, or forever forget the marriage to Barbara. Glenda should consult a competent psychiatrist, but then very few transvestites wish to change their strange desires. This is their life. To take it away from them might do as great a harm as taking away an arm or a leg, or life itself. Many even carry their transvestite desires to the grave with them. Yes, it is a problem. But Glenda, remember back almost a year ago when Glen and Barbara accepted each other?
Okay.
That's the 6th time you've said goodnight.
I guess it is. Look. Come on over here a minute.
What is it?
Never mind, just sit down.
Oh, I was beginning to think you'd never get around to it.
Did you mean you will?
What do you think?
When?
I must finish college first. It's only 7 months to go.
Well, now, that's hardly long enough for you to get a trousseau together.
How would you know about such things? Glen, what's the matter?
Huh?
All of a sudden, you seem 1,000 miles off.
Yes, I guess I was, huh? That's a mighty pretty dress you're wearing tonight.
I wear my best to please you.
You know, when you look at me, you just tie me in knots.
I love to tie you in knots. Oh, I'll be so happy when these next few months are over.
Some special reason?
Of course. So you can stop kissing me goodbye at the door every night.
Yes?
So you can hold me close to you always.
Yes?
Then all you'll have to do is call and close your eyes to feel my lips on yours.
Beware. Beware. Beware of the big green dragon that sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys. Puppy ducktails and big fat snails. Beware. Take care. Beware. Tell me, dragon, do you eat little boys? Puppy duck tails and big fat snails?
Puppy dog tail, puppy dog tail, puppy dog tail. Everything nice, everything nice. Ha ha ha, puppy dog tail.
You. I killed him! Oh! A field mouse! Stand back, it's liable to bite you. Tarantula shot 5 holes in a divot. Get at it. Come on. Wasted 5 good slugs in it.
I'll sue you for this.
Oh, superstitious, eh? Now, Gailey's dance was over. I stuck my head in the office door, and I saw Craig Robin and Buck Wing arguing over by the parrot cage.
What were they arguing about?
I don't know, but Buck Wing was sizzling like a hot hamburger. He grabs Craig by the neck like that, see? And drags him over to the letterpress, see? Then he smacks him on the head like that. Then he pokes his coconut into the letterpress, see? Like that. Then he says, I'll squeeze the cider out of your Adam's apple. Then he gives him the works like this. And he keeps turning and twisting. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is What's the matter? You want to kill me?
Why, it's preposterous.
Stop chewing that gum.
Frightening.
Will you throw that gum away?
Look, I got rid of it. Wait a minute. Hold still. I'll get it. Ow! Ow, my nose! Hey, you're in a court, not in the woods, Tarzan. Cut it out. Come on.
Order in this court.
Come on, Polly, 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 Polly. Come on, Polly, Polly, Polly. Come on, Polly, Polly, Polly. Come on. Ouch! Look out, here he comes. Catch that parrot. Get him. Hey. Oh, my Stradivarius. Oh, my beautiful Stradivarius. Grab your ear.
Come on.
How we get him now? Let's get some salt and put it on his tail.
That's no way to get a parrot. You gotta wet his feathers so he can't fly.
Oh, don't do nothing till you hear from me.
Come on. Give me a hand.
Wait a minute, hold it. What do you mean?
I object, Your Honor. These proceedings, this courtroom.
What's the idea? Give me that hose.
What?
We gotta get the parrot.
Hey, you!
Shut that off. Wait a minute, I'll have to tie a knot in it.
Give me that. I got it.
Got it?
Get this! Who killed Craig Robin? I killed Craig Robin, and not with my little bow and arrow. Don't try to find me as I'm shuffling off the buffalo. Signed, Buckwing. Hooray! Hooray!
Wait a minute.
Just a second now. Now, ready? Hold it.
Beware of the big green dragon that sits on your doorstep. He eats little boys, puppy dog tails, and big fat snails. Beware, take care. Beware.
Glenda has made the decision. Glen has decided to tell Barbara of his dual personality. To tell her of the nighties and negligees, the sweaters and skirts, the robes and dresses, the stockings and the high-heeled shoes, the wig and the makeup. All that goes to make Glen into Glenda. He tells Barbara he cannot cheat her of the knowledge that she, as his fiancée, should possess. All the facts. He tells her softly, hurriedly at first, then slowly as he becomes more technical. His hands move to caress the smooth material of her Angora sweater, which he has so long and so desperately wanted to put on his own body. He tells of this to her, and she looks to the sweater and to his hand. Then, when it is all over and that much of the story he knows is told, Barbara is not sure of her own thoughts.
That's about it, darling. I wanted to tell you for a long, long time, but just couldn't bring myself to do it. I've been too much afraid of losing you.
Understand this, but maybe together we can work it out.
Is that the end of the story?
Not quite. I'll get back to it in a minute. Glen's case is really the lesser advanced type cases. The second case is an extremely advanced one. However, I'll get to that in a moment. First, you must realize that each transvestite the world over has his own particular problem. Each case must be handled individually according to the person, his past life, and his problem.
And he isn't a hermaphrodite?
No more than he's a pseudo-hermaphrodite. Glen's case was entirely of his mind, brought on by the environment of his early youth.
What about their children, Doctor? Would their children become the same way their father is?
No. Transvestism is not hereditary.
Well, what makes these men want to wear girls' clothes?
Many things. But as I've said before, it usually starts in early childhood from one cause or another. Technically, each case has the same beginning, just a different set of circumstances.
Are any of them actually cured?
Oh, yes, many, many of them. Once the source of supply is found, it can be stopped, unless the patient refuses to cut off that source of supply.
Then the way I get it, this Glen and the character he created, much as an author creates a character in a book, was invented as a love object to take the place of the love he never received in his early youth through lack of it from his parents. The character was created and dressed and lives the life the author designs for him to live and dies only when the author wants him to die.
Correct. except that for the character Glenda to die, the elements must be right. But to enlighten you a little further, there's the second story, that of an extremely advanced case. Let's call this person Alan, Ann. Alan had a mother who wanted a little girl. The father didn't care much one way or the other. Alan did not enter the competitive sports that the other boys at the school did. However, he was an extremely studious boy and always had above-average marks in his subjects. Yet sports, girls' sports, he always was interested in. But he was rejected by the girls and also rejected by the boys. It seems he belonged to neither of them. After school, Alan would go home to find the mother who had always wanted a girl and the father who didn't care one way or the other. He enjoyed doing the woman's work around the house. Alan was becoming a woman and didn't realize it. A woman in mind only, but the mind rules. Then came the fateful year of 1941. Alan was drafted. He was accepted. In the Army, he successfully passed his vigorous training. He did not like it, but then there were the weekends for his particular diversions. On his weekend passes, he would go to the nearest town where he had a suitcase checked in a public locker. In the suitcase, he had the things he loved to wear, that which made his body appear to be what his mind believed it was. Then the day of embarkation came. But wherever Alan went, the suitcase was sure to go. Then, as quickly as it had begun, the war was over. Alan came home. Alan had learned all the terms directed at men like himself, but no one had found out his aversion. He was honorably discharged from the service at the end of the war. He'd received the Silver Star and the Bronze Star for gallantry in action. While he was in an Army hospital recuperating from a wound he had received in New Guinea, he learned a very interesting fact. He learned that foreign doctors were doing marvelous work with a sex change, man to woman, woman to man. Shortly after his separation from service, Alan came to me for advice. There followed many long sessions with my clinical reports and the reports of eminent doctors. It had been found that Alan was really a pseudo-hermaphrodite. A hermaphrodite is one who has the organs of both the male and female in plain sight. A pseudo-hermaphrodite is one who has one perfectly formed organ of either sex and one imperfectly formed one that's difficult to detect. Alan was of the latter. Acting the woman and being the woman are two entirely different things. Alan had all his life acted the part of the woman. Now he is that woman and must learn how it's done. Anne must learn how to do her own hair, how to make the correct styling for her facial contours. The proper walk must be adopted. A lady is a lady, whatever the case may be. A woman born at the age of 24, in a world that for 24 years she had seen as a man, but a woman who now would and was properly instructed in how to accept a woman's world.
Okay, now, the story that Dracula is telling us about the doctor telling a story to the policeman takes a real twist. Because now the doctor starts telling the story to the cop about a different person, Alan, who was in the war. And as that stock footage shows, World War II was no picnic.
Yes. We lost many men in World War II.
The causes. Why are we Americans on the march? Is it because of Pearl Harbor? Is that why we are fighting? Or is it because of Britain? Czechoslovakia. Norway. Poland. Greece. Belgium. Albania. Yugoslavia. Or Russia. This other world. Here, men insisted that progress lay in killing freedom. Here, they were putting out the lighthouses, one by one. Here, the march of history was reversing itself. In Italy, it began when an ambitious rabble-rouser set his followers marching on Rome. The country, like every other country after the last war, was torn by political unrest, hard times, unemployment. Two courses were available to the Italian people. They could solve their problems in a free, democratic way, or they could let someone else do the solving for them. They made the tragic mistake of choosing the second course. They put their trust and faith in this one man. They believed he represented them. Actually, he planned to betray them for the selfish interests of himself and the group back of him. In Germany, another and even more forceful demagogue set his followers marching from the Munich beer hall. He too had the sinister opportunity to take advantage of post-war chaos. But he also had certain distinctive German characteristics to play on. To start with, the Germans have an inborn national love of regimentation and harsh discipline. He could give them that. The German army, and through them the people, had never acknowledged German defeat in the last war and were anxious for revenge. That, too, he promised them. The wealthy and powerful industrialists were fearful of losing any of their wealth and power and were ready to back anyone who would retain it for them. He promised to take care of them, too. This man cunningly played all these ends against the middle and ruthlessly set out to murder the newborn German Republic. And to the Japanese people, the emperor is God. Taking advantage of their fanatical worship of the god emperor, it was no great trick to take away what little freedom they had ever known. Yes, in these lands, the people surrendered their liberties and threw away their human dignity. They gave up their rights as individual human beings. They became a part of a mass, a human herd. Although these countries were far apart and different in custom and in language, the same poison made them much alike. Each got a new uniform. In Italy, the new bosses wore black shirts. In Germany, the shirts were brown. In Japan, they hid behind the uniform of the army. But really, they belonged to a sinister, secret society. Their symbol was a black dragon. The other fellows had to have a symbol, too. Germany, a swastika. In Italy, the old Roman symbol of the fascists. In Germany, they called the new order National Socialism, or Nazism. In Italy, they had a shorter word, fascism. In Japan, they had lots of names for it. The new era of enlightenment, the new order in Asia, the co-prosperity sphere. But no matter how you slice it, it was just plain old-fashioned militaristic imperialism. The Japs would get the prosperity, and the others would get the coal. They say trouble always comes in threes. Take a good close look at this trio. Remember these faces. Remember them well. If you ever meet them, don't hesitate.
Thus, this case, which has a happy ending, is due entirely to the corrections made by medical science. I've had several such cases. In fact, in my 20 years of practice, I've been prominent in 7. However, my colleagues have had hundreds.
Then you believe that the Glen of the first story should have the sex change?
In Glen's case, no. No, indeed. Glen would never be happy with a sex change.
The Alan of your story ended happy?
I'll tell it to you exactly as I told it to them. Shortly after Glen told Barbara of his love for girls' clothing, he started treatments with me. On the last treatment, both he and Barbara came to me. I told them the same story of Alan, Anne, as I've told it to you, Inspector. Anne was a pseudo-hermaphrodite. Even though one of the sexes was imperfect, she had the organs and the characteristics of both the male and female. Glen's case is an entirely different type of case. Remember I said, no matter what the case, it's a different thing. A new problem to be looked into, then solved. A new challenge to the psychoanalysis. Glen's body holds only one sex, that of the male. In all our talks, I've learned these pertinent facts. Glen's father had no love for his son. His father wanted Glen to be a football hero or a baseball player, so that he could brag to his cronies down at the corner saloon as his cronies bragged to him about their own sons. Thus, the ruse of Glen's fictitious character. He invented it when he could find no love from his mother and no love from his father. His mother had hated her own father. Glen reminded her of her father. Therefore, she gave all her affection, love, and attention to her daughter. Glen then decided also to become a daughter. Glen, you can kill this fictitious character of yours anytime you wish. For your happy ending, it's the only way.
Then you think I can kill this second character by transferring her qualities to Barbara?
Exactly. But as the author and his character, the elements must be right. It's up to you, Barbara. You must take the place, give the love, and accept the facts that Glenda has always accepted. If you love each other as you now believe you do, And it'll be a hard job, but you'll enjoy doing the job.
Should I let him continue to wear girls' clothing? Or should I put my foot down?
If you put your foot down, you'd only go behind closed doors. Love is the only answer. Glenda must be transferred to you.
Supposing Glen never gets over wearing girls' clothing.
Would it matter to you very much?
I love Glen. I'll do everything I can to make him happy.
The end is only the beginning. Time passes. Soon, due to a happily married life, the remembrance of the psychiatric treatments, and Barbara's love and understanding, Glenda begins to disappear forever from Glen. Glen has found his mother, his little sister, his wife, and his Glenda all in one lovely package. Thus, Glen's case has a happy conclusion. Therefore, two entirely different cases, handled in two entirely different ways, have a happy ending.
Yeah, those two. But what of the hundreds of other less fortunate Glens the world over?
Yes. But what of the others? Less fortunate Glens, the world over. Oh, snips and snails and puppy duck tails.
So Dracula was in it, and so was the devil. But it wasn't really scary. Was this a horror movie?
It was a midnight movie.
Oh, okay. All right. That explains it. The last time I saw a movie like this was... Join us next time when we're going to be watching The Brain That Wouldn't Die. You're not going to want to miss it.
Thank you for watching the Midnight Movie.